Hi guys, thanks for watching my vlog. This is part 2 of day 2. And we are gonna go from one UNESCO site to another. We are gonna look inside Cecilienhof Palace. This is where the big three decided what the world's gonna look like after World War II. The Potsdam Conference started from July 17 to August 2, 1945. A few days after, they decided to bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So, from Sanssouci Park, we are going to take the tram and the bus to the Cecilienhof Palace, and that's courtesy of Google Directions. I always use Google Directions every time I travel because it gives you a lot of options. It gives you what kind of transportation you want to use. You can use your own car. You can search for buses, trams, trains. If you want to walk somewhere, it's gonna give you options and directions from on how to walk from point A to point B. It's gonna let you know the distance, the time. It's gonna let you know if there are interruptions to the service and all the good stuff like that. So please take note that most of the announcements are in Dutch, so you better pay attention. If you need to use the washroom, they have one to the left side of the building. It's 50 cents to enter. And in Germany, the washrooms are labeled WC. The palace looks kind of small from the outside, but it actually has 176 rooms, 176. This palace is named after the last German crown princess, Cecily. So the conference was attended by Churchill, Stalin, and Truman. But a few days later, Churchill's gonna go back home because his party, his conservative party, was defeated in the election, and he was then replaced by Attlee. Their people probably did not vote for them because they realized that Churchill is a wartime leader instead of a peacetime leader, and the opposition, the Labour Party, ran promoting major social reforms like the National Health Service, national insurance, and stuff like that. After the Battle of Berlin, the Soviet Union got control of Berlin, and they decided to host the conference a little farther from Berlin, which was bombed extensively. So they decided to host the conference in the Cecilienhof Palace. Sometimes I would take videos of text from the guide like this, and sometimes I would take videos of the text from the walls or from the displays, and sometimes I would read them to you, and sometimes I'm not gonna read them. And if you want to read them, please feel free to just hit the pause button and read the contents if you want. This is Joy Milward. She's the secretary of Winston Churchill during the conference. But I think she probably went home early too because Churchill lost the election. But later, after a few minutes, I took a video of her diary. We can read some of them. You can hit the pause and you can read the pages one by one if you want. Or if you can read her handwriting. It's pretty bad. So the architect of the palace was also an architect for cruise ships, and Cecily, the last German crown princess, loves cruise ships, so she probably requested to have this built inside a palace, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, she usually spends her breakfast here. This is a pretty long timeline, and I think the most important one was before they did the Potsdam conference, there was a Yalta conference where Roosevelt was there, but then he died before the Potsdam conference, so he was so we have Truman instead of Roosevelt in Potsdam. This is the receiving area in the palace, and uh, according to what I read, Stalin hosted a buffet or some kind of dinner in the White Salon. The big three were always received with honor guards, In Berlin, military parades and marches took place. As early as May 20, 1945, the Red Army organized a parade before the Brandenburg Gate. The red banner of victory was removed from the Reichstag building and given a ceremonious send-off to Moscow. During the Potsdam Conference, the British held their victory parade at Tiergarten Park. On September 7, troops from all four victorious powers jointly paraded down Charlottenburger Chaussee. The parades were a demonstration of power vis-à-vis the German population. They emphatically showed who held the governmental authority in Germany. At the end of the war, there is no functioning food supply for Berlin. City Commander Colonel General Berzarin determines the rations for the 2.5 million inhabitants. Adults are allotted somewhat more than 1,000 calories each day. On June 24, 1945, the Victory Parade takes place at Moscow's Red Square. Thousands of seized German swastika flags are thrown to the ground. Stalin praises the efforts and endeavors of the entire nation for achieving the victory. The round table in the middle of the conference hall is the actual table that they used during the conference.
Ja. Hallo. Oh.
So the red star in the backyard is the Russian symbol. Maybe because Russia got here first, so they secured the entire area. They have checkpoints all over the place, and delegates are given some kind of passes for security. And it was said that the discussions during the conference happens around 4 in the afternoon, and there were rumors that Russia probably planted bugs all over the area so they could listen and get information from the British and American camps, which could be really true because uh, the Cold War probably started after the Potsdam Conference. Can you imagine the American president telling Stalin about the atomic bomb? But I'm pretty sure he's not very surprised because I'm pretty sure that he planted spies all over America um, to know more about the Manhattan Project. This is the diary of Joy Milward. Um, Feel free to pause your screen for every single page. But I might read some stuff for you. Let me see. If I cannot read the word, I'm just gonna say blah blah. 3-Power Conference, Potsdam, July 13 to July 28, 1945. A diary of my activities during my stay in Babelsberg for the meeting of the Big Three, Mr. Churchill, President Truman, and Marshal Stalin, to discuss Germany's economic and political future, Soviet-Polish relations, etc., on the cessation of hostilities in Europe. Note: following the general election result on July 26, the British delegation was deprived of Mr. Churchill and Mr. Eden, Mr. Attlee and Mr. Burin returning instead. Okay, I think I'm gonna read the part where they went to Sanssouci Palace because I find it kind of funny. Part of the palace had been revived by shell fire, so our journey ended with the theater, took the car round to the old palace. Okay, I can't really read her writing, or I don't know. Let me try that again. Here we had a woman guide. This palace was all on one floor and only had 8 rooms. The entrance hall, where Frederick gave orders to his guards. The divine hall adjoining had black, blah blah marble floors. To the left of these rooms was Frederick's suite, consisting of his bedroom, with a blood-stained chair in which he died, his library, 2 blah rooms in his bedroom were pictures of his family and a tapestry for screen worked by his blah blah. In this palace, as in the other, the chandeliers were beautiful. Both palaces now have electricity, as the Kaiser lived in them until his defeat. On the other side of the palace, it is really much more like a Russian blah blah. Oh, Russian hunting lodge. Were the 4 rooms belonging to his gentlemen, these were all much the same except for the last room, which was specially decorated for Voltaire, who spent much time there. Personally, I should have taken the room as a gross insult. All around the walls were painted wood figures. Parrots, because Voltaire talked so much. Squirrels, because he hoarded. Storks, because he traveled. A monkey, because he was so ugly. The palace was built in 1745 to 47 and had 10 terraces leading from it to the drive. We left at 5:15 and made for Berlin. We had to pass through Russian territory several times. Were stopped by blah blah. We eventually saw the Autobahn running beneath us, so bumped back onto it alone, a narrow sandy blah blah, all holding our breath for fear of blah blah. For fear of mines. We made straight for the Chancellery, and I managed to get a piece of Hitler's desk with polished top on it. We did not leave much time to spare, as some of us had to get back for duty. We worked until 3:45 a.m. Alright, we just went through Churchill's office, and now we're gonna go look inside Truman's office. In Potsdam, the 3 victorious powers decided on the territorial reshaping of Central and Eastern Europe. Borders were shifted. Around 20 million persons lost their homeland. The Soviet Union received the northern part of East Prussia with the city of Königsberg. Poland's territorial losses in the east were not discussed. The transfer of Germans from Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Hungary was to be effected in an orderly and humane manner. The final determination of frontiers was to take place at a peace conference. 14 million Germans lost their homeland. Within a short period of time, they had to be absorbed into the four zones of occupation in Germany. The arrival of forcefully expelled persons brought about a socially explosive situation. Compulsory billeting and years of living in camps were the rule. The expellees were not welcome. Allocation conflicts left their stamp on the country, changing it forever. Mentally, culturally, and in terms of religious confession. 1.4 million Poles also lost their homeland. This loss of one's home continues to affect millions of family biographies in both societies up to today. Issues of foreignness, identity, and homeland still challenge the persons expelled and their progeny even in the 21st century. The United States emerged from the war as the #1 world power. Its immense economic strength made it possible to provide generous support to its allies and to exert geopolitical influence during the war. Since entering the war in 1941, the USA had been fighting in two theaters of war, against Germany and Japan. For the new and inexperienced U.S. President Harry S. Truman, the main concern at Potsdam was for a swift end to the war in the Pacific. A successful atomic bomb test in New Mexico made the USA the only atomic power in the world. U.S. troops were only meant to remain stationed in Europe for a short time. However, the Soviet expansion of power was regarded with suspicion. Guys, did you see that sign? There's a sign that's pointing to WC. WC is the washroom to the right, and the shop is to the left. It looks like the bus runs in circles, so they use the same bus stop. So we go back to the same bus stop, and this is how I use Google directions. So I just search for the place that I need to go to. This time to Ritz Carlton, to my hotel, and it's gonna give you options. It's gonna give you options, and it's gonna show you how long it's gonna take. Some of them takes an hour and 2 minutes. If you looked a while back, some of them takes more than that, and it's gonna show you if you can use the tram or the train or the bus. This time we're gonna do 3 of them, I think, but it's okay because they are kind of frequent, and it's pretty fast and pretty good too. Very clean. So first we're gonna take the bus to the tram, and then from the tram we are gonna take the train. This is the central station in Potsdam. They call it Hauptbahnhof, I think. I think Hauptbahnhof stands for central station. I don't even know if I said it right. It's okay, it doesn't matter.
Platz. Übergang zur Bahnlinie 2.
back in Potsdamer Platz. The exit is right off the Sony Center, which is right beside our hotel. So the commute took about an hour and maybe 5 minutes. We left Potsdam around 3:30 and it's now around 4:40. And as you can see, it's nighttime. It's very dark. So I just went back to the hotel to use the washroom and then went back out again because it's too early. And it would be nice to walk around the neighborhood. So from the hotel, we're gonna walk for 20 minutes towards the other Christmas market. But the Christmas market opened around November 21st, but I left Germany around November 20, so I was only able to look at the other stall in front of the Christmas market. I think they serve beer and champagne, but instead of going there, I went to a restaurant across the street to try some authentic German food and of course beer. Let's go. I don't really have a reservation, but they still let me in. I sat in the bar, and it looks like this restaurant is popular for the wood barrel, the beer from the wood barrel. And I ordered a big one, and it was really good. And probably my favorite, and probably the safest German food would be the pork knuckle. I ordered the crispy pork knuckle, which is really good. Look at this pork knuckle. It looks like lechon. It's a mini lechon for a single person, but actually it's good for two because it's a big serving. So the price is pretty reasonable for a large hunk of meat, a large glass of beer, and a side of fries. Back, I stumbled upon this small place where they serve all kinds of French fries and churros. It's a really cute place. I also like the fact that they have real plants inside, but mostly because of this, right? Fries before guys. Only in Berlin. I see a baho. Is that a country place?
It's very slippery when it's not wet.